Hello, everyone. I know you might not recognize me since we're 6 days into November, and I am, in fact, participating in No Shave November, and I hope all of you do too because it's a great experience. I mean, look at my face. Tell me I don't look great. But whatever, we can debate that later. I'd like to get into my Week 10 picks. Now, there's a lot of good games this week that I want to talk about. I think I want to start off with the Pain Train versus the Revolution. This is a great game, with the Revolution being right above me in the standings, and the Pain Train having a very average, mediocre team. I love whenever we all talk about the Pain Train. We all say, Peyton Manning's going to put up these great numbers, and the rest of his team, not so much. But I think that's different this week. I think Peyton does have a great team. I think Fred Jackson comes back for the Bills, and he pounds in a few. I'm calling the upset here. Pain Train beats the Revolution 71-60. A solid game for both of them overall, but the Pain Train comes out on top. The next game, Man Bear Pigs versus Wrecking Crew. Both teams not having the best of seasons, but one of them does turn their season around here, and I think that whoever does turn it around will string together a few wins. This is a good matchup to look at. Wrecking Crew, 5-4, tied with me in the division, hoping to climb in the man's division where it's way tougher than in the female division down below on bottom. But I think Sean, with his Bears back, does take the victory here. He puts up the solid 64-50 by Casey losing this one. Next one I want to talk about is Can't Get a Win. All the name changes this year. I'm not sure quite how I feel about that. There's a couple bad names out here, but I'll talk about that later. One up against Despicable Me, who I think we can all agree is on the hot seat right now with most of the league, and he's okay in my book. That's all I can say. Without Marshawn Lynch, I think Mike still can't get a win. Not this week, Mike. I'm very sorry. I think Despicable Me continues his dominance of the league, advances to 8-2, which would tie him for the best record in the league, depending on my next pick. But yeah, I think Justin definitely does come out on top here. And I think people are going to see that the trade really wasn't so bad. And if you watch my video, at the end of the video, I put up 2 trade analyzers that I did online, both saying Rashad Jennings and Matthews were the better end of the deal. Now, we won't know for a while, but I thought it was interesting. I understand the hate against Justin, but then again I don't, because it is his team, and I think people are finally coming to see that. And I think it's funny that people in the league, I don't want to name names, but pretty much everyone, were saying it was already a bad trade, that no matter what happened, it was, this trade rape concept, which I am not on either side of the fence for. Me and Justin talked it out. We thought we both were making a decent trade with enough risk for us to take it, and we did. But I think it's funny how people were saying this trade's already bad, no matter what happens, this and that. Justin got blah, blah, blah. But I think that if people could see the future like they're claiming, you wouldn't be 0-9. And you wouldn't have lost 5 or 6 down the stretch to miss the playoffs last year. But I'm not naming names. Those are just scenarios. Those could be anybody, really. So yeah, I do think Justin wins this one, has a nice game, and comes out on top. The next game I'd like to talk about is I Believe versus MTJB, otherwise known as Marcus Top, Justin Bottom. And I would like to appreciate that I would be on top of anybody in all these scenarios. And unless it was Gronk, then whatever he wanted. But that's besides the point, so let's move on. This one's tough because the name really frustrates me with Anthony, especially because he's first in my division, and I really want Kyle to win this one. And even with all of his, a lot of players on bye, I think Anthony will take this one. I don't think there's any way Kyle wins. I don't think I don't think it's in the cards. It's not written in the books. Things just it's not your year. Things are supposed to go bad for you, and they are going bad for you. And I can only hope and tell you as a best friend. Maybe next year will be your year. Maybe you have to go through the struggles to get to the top. I mean, it's possible. I do like the name change to I Believe. I believe in miracles. Am I right? But you're not getting that miracle this week, and you're probably not getting this miracle the rest of the season. Anthony regrettably pulls out on top, extends his division lead, goes to 8-2 along with Justin in a tie for the best record in the league. I think Kyle puts up a new high in points. I think he scores in the 60s, maybe even the 70s this week. So I'm putting him right on the verge at 69. But I do think Anthony pulls out on top, 74-69, a close game for Anthony again. Pulled out a nice win last week. Congratulations. And I hate picking myself for the game of the week, but I want to get to the game of the week, which I think is a consensus in the league. It is multiple scoregasms, myself, versus serial decleters, my father. Now, these father-son matchups have always been tough for me. My dad is my confidant in fantasy. We talk about each other's lineups. We help each other out when it comes down to it. And he's the one who got me into fantasy football in the first place. I think I've furthered his love of fantasy football. And we just play off each other really well. Man. I'm going to do something crazy here, and I'm going to pick my dad to win. Yes. I'm picking myself to lose this week. I'm picking myself to go to a 5-5 record and just cruising along at 500. I'll also put my dad at 5-5. We've both, if you look at the league history, we've never been in the same division. We've won our respective divisions 2 of the 4 years, I believe. So we've been pretty mainstay dominant staple in this league. And it's weird to see us both at 5-5. And I can't help believe that it's something that where we both do good, we will both win. But if we both do bad, we will both lose. And I think Calvin Johnson comes back. I do think Calvin's going to catch 2 touchdowns this week, which means at least 2 for Stafford. And if you look at my roster, yeah, it is 5 first-round picks. I mean, I do have Aaron Rodgers, Sean McCoy, Marshawn Lynch, Jordy Nelson, Rob Gronkowski on a bye, unfortunately. I got a nice free agent pickup of Roddy White. I mean, Shane Vereen's been doing well. Just, stacked as can be. But I just don't see myself pulling it out. And the reason for this is because I'm going back to history. I have beaten my dad. I would say we've had around, in all leagues, we've had around 20 matchups. I'd say I've beaten my dad in, 2 of those regular season matchups? It just doesn't happen for me. It doesn't matter what teams we throw out there. It is not my week when I play my father. In the playoffs is a different story because I'm 4-0 against my father in the playoffs. I don't lose to him in the playoffs, which, I'll trade that. I'll trade that record. I'll trade the record all day. So, I'm picking my father to beat me in a very close game at 74-73. I mean, it could go either way, but just with history not on my side, I just don't feel confident here. But that's all the games of the week, and Trade Tuesday was boring this week, fellas, and I don't know why. I feel like the league is cold to me in trading-wise. I've offered a few trades out there for some of my players and shut down every time. But I can't help but get the feeling that my antics in this league have always been a little Dennis the Menace-y. But now, with this past trade that you guys have seen as trade rape, who's saying who's right, who's saying who's wrong? It's not me. I'm not the judge here. But I've become kind of a Phantom Menace here, a Darth Vader of sorts. I'm gonna embrace that role and I'm coming for you. I'm coming for the championship, and you best believe if I get it, this league will never be the same. I want to be the first not 2P because not two in a row, but 2-win champion in this league more than anyone knows. And I am willing to rape anyone for it. I am willing to slaughter anyone for it. I'm going to demolish the rest of the year here. So you better be prepared, because you might be next on my chopping block. Anyway, those are my picks for this week. The Pain Train pulling out a win. Man Bear pulling out a nice win here when the Bears go off. Despicable Me, Marcus Top, Justin Bottom, continuing their dominance of their divisions. And Serial Decleters unfortunately taking me down this week. It's been a great year so far, everyone. Let's keep it up. Kyle, stay strong. And if you want us to chuck the football your nuts, I'm sure that we're all open to doing this. But yeah, let's have a great week. Everyone, keep doing what you're doing. I'll see you on the battlefield, fellas.